what's up? This is Udolena from Udolena Digital, and today is a book review day. Today I am reviewing a book called Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Welcome to my channel, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks to those of you who already did. The channel has been growing tremendously the last month, so really appreciate your support. Today's topic is a book which I started reading recently and I haven't finished yet, but I got just so inspired that I couldn't resist not taking a video about it. The book is called Shrugged, and it's recommended to me by some people that I deeply respect. Then when I was researching the book, I saw that there was a lot of contradiction, a lot of negative opinions about the book, which attracted me even more. It's a huge volume, it's over 1,000 pages, so it's about 3 normal, so-called normal books. And it's written by a Russian Jewish American writer Ayn Rand, or Elizaveta Zinovyevna Rosenbaum, which is her real name. She's an immigrant from Soviet Russia, born 1905, and arrived in the United States, became a US citizen, and one of the biggest defendants of free capital and capitalism in its initial form. It's a novel, so it is a storyline following the life of a business lady called Dagny Taggart. She is owner of a huge railroad, one of the biggest railroad companies in the United States, and she's trying to make it work into a world which is kind of like a dystopian United States. It's a world that it's not clear whether it's in the future, in the past, or in the present. It's a very interesting world where companies keep failing and the state keeps nationalizing things. There is tons and tons of regulations and laws about the laws, which are all aiming for good, are all aiming to help the poor, the deprived, to give an equal chance to everybody, but what they achieve is actually the opposite, and the country is gradually grinding itself into the ground, as well as many of the successful businesses. The book is kind of like an apotheosis of the free will, the free individual, the free capitalist against the collectivism, against the state, which is over-controlling, trying to do a welfare, but actually achieving exactly the opposite, causing misery and poverty, and as well as scientific decline. It's good to mention a little bit about the background of Ayn Rand. First of all, she is from a bourgeois family, what they call the bourgeois family in Russia. So they were a Jewish family with pharmacy. They were kind of like an upper middle class before the revolution. She was super talented as a kid, she was already debating, writing screenplays. She wanted to make it into the movies. And then the revolution happened and her family was disowned. So they, all this business and everything that they owned was confiscated by the state, nationalized as they called it. They were forced to flee, to leave their home. Then they came back and they have to live in poverty. They were living in St. Petersburg, which was then called Leningrad, by the name of Lenin. You can understand why she hates socialism so much, and socialists hate her equally. It's a very fierce debate, and she describes socialists in the book as these creatures that are really difficult to argue with. They don't make any sense. She's really mocking them a lot, and I can understand why socialists actually don't like her book. It's kind of like for an American to read Russian communist propaganda. It's the same angry feeling that you might get. But I can understand that coming from an Eastern European country. I understand, especially I've met people who have been disowned. Let's say their grandparents were these huge factory owners, they owned the half of the country, they were millionaires before the revolution, and then the state took everything away from them. And they were left with nothing. They were prosecuted a lot, so everybody who had some kind of business background in their family, they were prosecuted a lot and under constant scrutiny from the state, because they were supposed to be agents of capitalism. And this is what she felt, and you can feel that through the book. You can feel that hatred, that despise and contempt to state regulation, to nationalism, collectivism, socialism. You can feel that almost like an offense in her, taking away successful businesses for hardworking, entrepreneurial, creative people and giving it to the mediocre, what she says, like this kind of system that's producing more and more mediocrity. And she explains it and justifies it very well in the book. For everyone who has worked or lived in such country, I have not lived in such country because I was born after that, but I know from my parents and other people, in collectivism type of societies, the idea is that you take everything in a big mesh and the government gives away to the people depending on their needs. Not depending on their virtues. And this is kind of like one of the main pieces of philosophy in the book is about getting things that you deserve. And this is why capitalists and business people love this book so much, because it's justifying this kind of mentality that even love, even respect, anything in life, you have to deserve it. And even a love relationship is kind of a deal, because you love the person because they have something for you, they have some kind of virtue that's meaningful for you, making you happy, and this is why you love them. You don't love them despite the fact that they don't offer you anything. And in her philosophy, Objectivism, this is what she's famous for, this is not rational. She's all about rationality. She's an atheist, so she doesn't believe in God. She believes that if you start believing in something that's not proven to be true, it's very easy for you to be fooled about other things that are not proven to be true. This is why she chose not to believe in God, because she doesn't have any physical evidence about it. And you can feel that as well through the book. It's a lot about the free individual as kind of like almost as a god, as a creator. That all of us have this kind of creative spark within us that is capable of achieving great things if we are left on our own. When the state becomes too nosy, when the state starts to push people to create regulations, how long have to be the trains, how long have to be the cucumbers, all kind of strange regulations that come out, trying to actually secure the poor and the ones that didn't have a chance, the worse it gets, because the ones who are talented, who are creative initiative, they feel demotivated. They feel that this is actually not fair. And it produces mediocre people to go on the top. And what mediocre people do is they run mediocre businesses, they go to bankruptcy, and in this world, utopian or dystopian world, in Atlas Shrugged, this is what is happening. You can see a lot of characters which are the complainers, the people who said they didn't give me a chance, that it was someone else's fault. These are the ones who are ruling, the ones who are getting the benefits from all this, and everybody else, the ones who are initiative and truly want to make a difference in this world, are just strewn with obstacles, and they have to do things against the obstacles rather than being supported in any way. There is another topic in the book which is very interesting, is about feminism. And this is why a lot of business women especially like this type of book, because the main character is a woman and it's written by a woman as well. So you can feel that throughout the book. The main character, Dagny Taggart, is this like really powerful lady. She is very hard, very driven. Like she is the woman who is running a business. She's fighting against all the odds, winning, has a strive to win. She's very individualistic. She finds pleasure into pursuing goals rather than into pleasing people. She's like a true independent lady. In this book, she brilliantly justifies how a woman can have a place in society where she can be independent and she has so much to contribute to a business world. She also describes kind of the prejudices against women, which they still face in the business force. So a lot of women can identify with her character. She's also very sexually active, she's beautiful, she has several lovers during the book. A lot of people may argue that she's a fiction, as well as some of the characters in the book. They seem very cold, very rational, very kind of idealized, and they are. This is what Ayn Rand says, that
to man what he might be and ought to be. That is, it presents an ideal and tells man this is the essential nature of man, and you as a human being can become that if you wish.
This is an ideal. This is something that you could strive to become, and I'm giving you the blueprint, but this doesn't mean that that's a real person. This is how a person could be in her fiction, in her world. This is how an ideal individual should function. And she can be very radical, the opposite of a super radical socialist person, like a proper communist. She went into the other end of the far right, even though she has some left ideas that were supported by the Democrats, which I find very cool in her character. Well, I researched a little bit about her, but she had a little bit of everything. On one side, she supported capitalism, so a lot of Republicans were taking her as her flag book. On the other hand, she supported abortion because she believed in the rights of women to have a choice, and in general, in the choice of the individual. She was not constrained to one doctrine only. She was making up her own mind, and she is calling others to bring the reason back into their life. By the essence and nature of existence, contradictions cannot exist. Check your premises. You will find that one of them is wrong. So if there is a contradiction, one of your premises is wrong. And this is kind of a very key part of her rationalism, is that there is no contradictions in the world. You cannot just believe things even though they're contradicting all the rules, which is a bit of a sense of close-mindedness in other opinions. You can have two contradicting ideas in your mind and still be able to make sense to them. I am more of a Ray Dalio fan, where he believes the radical open-mindedness. And this is how I read her book. I read it as an open-minded person. I do take some parts of it which make sense for me. I like the strive of the individual. I have experienced it myself. I like the freedom of choice. I like the contempt for the helplessness and the self-created traps of like, what can we do? What can we do? There's nothing that can be done. I hate this kind of thinking. I like entrepreneurship. I like entrepreneurial mindset and initiative. So this is what I like from this book. However, there are other parts of Ayn Rand which I don't fully agree with. Let me know in the comments what you think. This book is worth actually a second video, which I'm going to do next week once I finish, hopefully, this huge book. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon.